This is Daf Yomi, tractate Zevachim 9, Amud Aleph, Testament Aleph, top of the page. It's where the Dochin Kadashim and Echalim Etzel Kadashim and Echalin Ve'ein Dochin Kadashim and Echalin Etzel Kadashim Shein Nachalim. Offerings that are eaten, in this case the Paschal offering, are diverted when slaughtered not for their sake to serve as other types of offerings that are eaten, such as peace offerings, but offerings that are eaten are not diverted to serve as offerings that are not eaten, such as burnt offerings. Atu chatas v'ashami lo mitchani. The Gemara asks, is that to say that a sin offering and a guilt offering are not eaten? Why does a Paschal offering receive the status of a peace offering and not that of a sin offering or a guilt offering, which are eaten by the priests? Ela dochin kadashim anechalin lechol adam etzel kadashim anechalin lechol adam ve'en dochin kadashim anechalin lechol adam etzel kadashim she'ein ne'echalin lechol adam. Rather, the answer should be amended. Offerings that are eaten by every Jewish person are diverted to serve as offerings eaten by every Jewish person, meaning peace offerings, but offerings eaten by every Jewish person are not diverted to serve as offerings not eaten by every Jewish person. For example, sin offerings and guilt offerings, which are only eaten by the priests. Okay. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Abin Amar Dochin Kadashim Kalim Etzel Kadashim Kalim Ve'nochin Kadashim Kalim Etzel Kadashim. Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Avin, says that there is a different answer. Offerings of lesser sanctity are diverted to serve as offerings of lesser sanctity, meaning peace offerings, but offerings of lesser sanctity are not diverted to serve as offerings of the most sacred order, which are burnt offerings, sin offerings, or guilt offerings. Maskif Rabbi Yitzchak Berabi Savrin. Ema, Savrin is in brackets. Ema, Shachtel Shema Ser Lema Ser Lema Hilchata Dela Libae Nisachim ולמלכה עליהם, בלא ימכר, בלא יגאל. Rabbi Yitzchak, the son of Rabbi Saviru, in brackets it says Savrin, objects to this answer. If so, say that if one slaughtered a Paschal offering for the sake of the animal tithe, let it be rendered animal tithe, which, like a Paschal offering, is an offering of lesser sanctity. The Gemara adds, for what halacha does it matter, practically speaking, that a Paschal offering has been rendered an animal tithe rather than a peace offering? It matters because if it is rendered an animal tithe, it should not require libations. And furthermore, if one sells it, he should be flogged for transgressing the prohibition, it shall not be redeemed. Leviticus 27:33. Which applies to the animal tithe even after its slaughter. Amakra asiri kodesh ze maser ve'ein acher maser. The Gemara responds, the verse states with regard to the animal tithe, the tenth shall be sacred, Leviticus 27:32. The definite article indicates that this, the 10th animal, is the tithe, but another animal slaughtered for its sake is not a tithe. Ema shachte l'shem b'chol le'aviv b'chol lemahil chata d'lo libae nisachim inami d'litveh kohanim. The Gemara challenges still say that if one slaughtered a Paschal offering for the sake of a firstborn animal, let it be rendered like a firstborn. The Gemara adds, for what halacha does it matter? Practically speaking, that it has been rendered a firstborn rather than a peace offering. It matters If it is rendered a firstborn, it should not require libations. Also, this means that one should give it to the priests. The Gemara answers with regard to a firstborn too. The verse states that you shall set apart the avarta, so you shall set apart unto the Lord all that opens the womb. Exodus 13:12. Since with regard to the animal, time it is stated, whatever passes under the rod, the tenth shall be holy. Leviticus 27:32. It is a rod by verbal analogy between the passing stated with regard to a firstborn and the passing stated with regard to the animal tithe, that a paschal offering cannot become a firstborn either. Ve'ema. Shachte l'shem tehura, leve tehura, lema yilchata, lemikle ale, inami lemekam ale, belo yimacher velo yigael. The Gemara challenges, but say that if one slaughtered a paschal offering for the sake of a substitute, let it be rendered a substitute. The Gemara adds, for what halacha does it matter? Practically speaking, that it has been rendered a substitute rather than a peace offering. The one who slaughtered it should be flogged for transgressing the prohibition of effecting substitution. Also, its sale should be determined to violate the prohibition. It shall not be sold or redeemed. Leviticus 27:28. Amar Marzut Rav Nachman, not Rav, it's Rav. Rav Nachman Amar Kravaya Hu Timuato Zu Timura Ve'nachel Tumura. Marzutra, son of Nachman, says, it is derived from that which the verse states with regard to substitution, that then both it and that for which it is changed shall be sacred. Leviticus 27:33. The verse teaches that only it, the animal substituted, is a substitute, but another animal is not a substitute. Okay. Ve'ema shachte l'shem todah lehewe lehevi ki todah. The Gemara challenges, but say that if one slaughtered a paschal offering for the sake of a thanks offering, let it be rendered like a thanks offering. The Gemara adds, for what halacha does it practically matter that it has been rendered a thanks offering rather than a peace offering? If so, it should require a meal of 40 loaves of bread. Okay. Mi'ika midei Pesach uvelo ba'ilechem umataro ba'ilechem. The Gemara answers, is there anything, meaning any situation comparable to this suggestion that a paschal offering itself does not require bread but is left over? An animal consecrated as a paschal offering but ultimately not sacrificed on Passover Eve requires bread when slaughtered not for its sake. Such a suggestion is implausible. The Gemara asks if so. The Gemara asks if so. 99999 99999. Yeah. The Gemara asks if so. Now that a leftover paschal offering slaughtered for the sake of a peace offering becomes a peace offering, this objection can be raised. Is there anything comparable to the suggestion that paschal offering itself does not require libations, but is left over require libations as a peace offering? The Gemara explains its answer. This is what we're saying. Is there anything comparable to the suggestion that the leftover of a thanks itself does not require bread, but the leftover of an offering from some other category requires bread? Mimai Dimotar Pesach Ketiv, Dilma Bimotar Hashem Ketiv. It was not an adverse, and if his offering for sacrifice of peace, offerings unto the Lord, is of the flock, Leviticus 3:6, teaches that a Paschal offering sacrificed not on Passover Eve is rendered a peace offering if sacrificed not for its sake. Rav Yamar, the son of Rav Hillel, objects to this. But from where is it derived that this verse is written with regard to a leftover Paschal offering? Perhaps it is written with regard to a leftover guilt offering. A guilt offering is also brought only from the flock. Amar Rava, Amar Kra'im, V'im min hatzon korbanot zevach shlamim. Dav rashav v'chor hatzon. Rava says, the verse states, and if this offering for a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Lord is of the flock, min hatzon, where the term min indicates that it is brought equally from all species of the flock. You have to be a min. You have to be a min to bring the sacrifice. Anyway, meaning from both sheep and goats, a guilt offering. I was just kidding by the way. It says the term min, but min also means a heretic, by the way. But just it's interesting. It says Rav is saying that the term min indicates that it's brought equally from all types of the flock, meaning from both sheep and goats. A guilt offering, by contrast, is only brought from rams, male sheep. Okay. Maskiv la Rabbi Avin Bachio, Vitemer Yovim Bagano, Bichol Atzara Tamlut Min, Leotzi B'chan Min Rabos. Rav Avin Bar Chia and some say Rav Avin Bar Kahana objects to this. You say everywhere that the term min is stated to exclude items, but here you claim the word min is stated to include all species of flock. You should say the opposite. The verse indicates that offering that is brought is only from some species, meaning the flock. For example, a guilt offering. Amrav Mani, Haganami min nahoti. Rabbi Mani says here, too, the word min is stated to exclude certain categories of flock, because the Paschal offering is not brought from an animal that is in its second year, and is not brought from the female animals of the flock. Maskif Rav Chana Bagdada. Interesting. I haven't seen this before, this person. Is Umara. Chana of Baghdad. Umi Matzah Medchi Ketiv Hai Mota Pesach Ketiv Am Ketiv Im Kesev Im Eis Michlad Alab Mota Pesach Ketiv. The Gemara cites another objection. Rav Chana of Baghdad objects to this. How can we say that when this verse is written, it is written with regard to a leftover Paschal offering, but from that which is written in the subsequent verses, if he brings a lamb, Leviticus 3:7, and if his offering is a goat, Leviticus 3:12, one learns by inference that the passage is not written with regard to a leftover Paschal offering. The Torah states elsewhere in Exodus 12:5 that a Paschal offering is brought from both lambs and goats, and it is unnecessary to teach this again in Leviticus. The Gemara answers, those verses are necessary. For that which is taught in right, the word lamb is written to include a Paschal offering, the Paschal offering and requirement that the tail be offered on the altar, which is written subsequently with regard to a peace offering, Leviticus 3:9. Since this halacha is not mentioned in the verses concerning the Paschal offering. Keshehu omer im keves rabos pesach she'ibra shenata u'shlamim abayim machmas pesach lechol mitzvat shlamim she'yitanu smicha u'nesachim u'tinufat chazer v'shok keshehu omer im ez yifsik ha'inyan limed ala ez she'eno ta'una aliyah. The Brisa continues when the verse states, if he brings a lamb, it is to include all the mitzvot of peace offerings, a paschal offering whose first year has passed and is therefore too old to be sacrificed as a paschal offering, and peace offerings brought due to a paschal offering. Specifically, this indicates that they require placing hands on the head of the offering, libations, and the waving of the breast and the thigh. And when the verse states, and if his offering is a goat, it interrupted the previous matter and taught that the sacrificing of a goat does not require that the tail be burned on the altar. ואם מן הצאן קורבן זבח שלמים, דבר הבא מן הצאן, יהא לזבח שלמים. The Gemara asks, but is it derived from here that a paschal offering that is too old to be sacrificed as a paschal offering is sacrificed as a peace offering? It is derived from the verse that Shmuel's father cites, as Shmuel's father says, the verse, and if his offering for sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Lord is of the flock, Leviticus 3:6, teaches that an offering that is brought only from the flock, meaning the paschal offering, will be a sacrifice of peace offerings. Akati mid Rav Nachman amar Rav Baravu nafka gemara Rav Nachman amar Rav Baravu minayin lemot al Pesach shekayv shlamim shenema v'zevachta Pesach l'Shem Elohecha tzon v'kal ולא אין פסח בא אלא מן הכבשים ומן העזים אלא מכאן למותר הפסח שיהיה לדבר הבא מן הצאן ומן הבקר מן ירושלים. The Gemara responds, but even without the brayta, Shmuel's father's statement is still superfluous, as that halacha is derived from that which Rav Nachman says, that Rav Baravu says, as Rav Nachman says, that Rav Baravu says, from where is it derived that the leftover paschal offering is sacrificed as a peace offering, as it is stated, and you shall sacrifice the paschal offering unto the Lord your God of the flock and the herd, Deuteronomy 16:2. Why is the herd mentioned, but isn't a paschal offering brought only from the lambs and the goats? Rather, it is derived from here that a leftover paschal offering should be sacrificed as an offering brought both from the flock and from the herd. And what is that? It is a peace offering. It's also correct, rather, none of these derivations are superfluous, as 3 verses are written that teach the halacha that a paschal offering that is sacrificed not on Passover Eve is sacrificed as a peace offering. Zevachim 9b, Testament base, top of the page, with the words Chali b'razman v'yivcha shenasa. One verse teaches that this halacha, in a case where its time of sacrifice Passover Eve is past, Passover has passed over, and its first year has also passed, disqualifying it from a sacrifice as a paschal offering, and the lamb goes, phew. Anyway, just kidding. And one verse teaches that the halacha in the case where its time of sacrifice has passed, but not its first year. And the third one teaches a case where neither its time of sacrifice nor its first year has passed, but it was sacrificed before Passover Eve. Okay. וצריך ידי חזור רחמן אחד הימין הירדים רשן עשו וזמן אני דחי מפסח לגמרי אלא אם ברזמן לא שנעשו לחזן לפסח שני and all these verses are necessary. Let's have them one written, only one of the verses. I would say that it is referring to a case where both its first year and its time of sacrifice have passed. Only such a paschal offering should be sacrificed as a peace offering, as it was completely rejected from its status as a paschal offering. But in a case where its time to sacrifice has passed, but its first year has not passed, in which case it is still fit to be sacrificed as a paschal offering on Pesach Sheni, I would say that it is not sacrificed as a peace offering. Okay? And had the Merciful One written only these two verses, one might assume that only these Paschal offerings were sacrificed as peace offerings, as they were both rejected from their status as Paschal offerings. But in a case where neither its time of sacrifice nor its first year have passed, in which case it is still fit to be sacrificed as a Paschal offering on Passover Eve, I would say that it is not sacrificed as a peace offering, therefore all three verses are necessary. Oh, Marab Ishmein Mavog. Mavog. Interesting. What an interesting name. I don't remember even having this before. Mavog? I gotta check. Does he show up in Shas at all? Mavog. Mavog. Ay. Mavog. And I gotta get die. No, I don't think he shows up at all. Mavog is Mavog. Talking about Mavog. Talking about Mavog. Talking about. No, I guess not. Okay, so Rav says the name of Mavog. Chatat, Shishachata, Shum Chatat, Nachshon, Kishera, Yamakazos, Teras Chatos. Teras Chatois. Rav says the name of Mavog, a sin offering that one slaughtered for the sake of a sin offering of Nachshon, meaning a sin offering similar to those brought by princes during the dedication of the tabernacle. See Numbers chapter 7. Not to atone for a sin, but as a gift, is fit and satisfies the owner's obligation. As the verse states, this is the law of the sin offering, Leviticus 6:18, indicating that there is one law for all the sin offerings. Yetiv Rabbe Kamar la Shmaita, Ein Tvera Mishashi la Rabbe. Ech Bishvin Omer Kol HaMelachos, Shenikmetzu Shel Nishman Kesheros, Yaralu Lebalim Mishum Choiva. Prophet sat and stated this halacha of Mavog. Rav Mesharshi raised an objection to Rabbe from a Braita. Rabbi Shimon says all meal offerings from which a handful was removed not for the sake, for their sake, but for the sake of another type of meal offering are fit and satisfy the obligation of the owner. In contrast, the animal offerings which is slaughtered not for their sake do not satisfy their owner's obligations. לפי שאין מנחות דומות לזבחים. שהקומץ מחבס לשם מלחשת, מעשה מוכיחין עליה, שהיא מחבס, חרבה לשון בלולה. מעשה מוכיחין שהיא חרבה. This is because meal offerings are not similar to slaughtered offerings, as if one removes a handful from a meal offering prepared in a shallow pan for the sake of a meal offering prepared in a deep pan. Machavaz is a shallow pan, and Marcheshes is a deep pan. His intention is demonstrably incorrect, as its motivation proves that it is a meal offering prepared in a shallow pan. Likewise, if one removes a handful from a dry meal offering for the sake of a meal offering mixed with oil, his intention is demonstrably incorrect, as its mode of preparation proves that it is a dry meal offering. The demonstrably incorrect nature of the intention prevents it from affecting the status of the meal offering in any way. Aval bizvachim enochred shchita. But with regard to slaughtered offerings, this is not so. There's one mode of slaughter for all the offerings, one mode of collection of the blood for all of them, and one mode of sprinkling for all of them. Therefore, improper intention affects the status of the offering, If a rite is performed for the sake of the wrong type of offering, the offering does not satisfy its owner's obligation. Okay. Taima di maseh mochichin. Ein maseh mochichin. La amai. Lema zot Torah tamincha. Torah achad lechol milachot. Rav Misharshia inferred from the Braita. The reason a meal offering satisfies its owner's obligation even when one removed a handful for the sake of another type of meal offering is that its mode of preparation proves its true nature. But if its mode of preparation does not prove its nature, it does not satisfy its owner's obligation. Why not? If Mavog's derivation is correct, let us say likewise that the verse, "This is the law of the meal offering," Leviticus 6:7, indicates that there is one law for all of the meal offerings regardless of their mode of preparation. Ela, Itmar hachi itmar. Amar Rab Mishmei de Mavog. Chatat shishachata. Alvinat shitchaper ba nachshon kshera. En kapara malametim. Rather, if Mavog's statement was stated, it was stated like this. Rav says in the name of Mavog, a sin offering that one slaughtered on the condition that Nachshon, the prince of Judah, be atoned for it by it is fit, that this is not considered a change of owner, as there is no atonement for the dead. The Gemara challenges, but if this was Mavog's statement, why did he mention Nachshon? Let him state this halacha in reference to a dead person in general. The Gemara answers this statement of Mavog teaches us that the reason for the fitness of a sin offering slaughtered for the atonement of Nachshon is that he is dead. Consequently, if it was slaughtered for the sake of a living person obligated to bring a sin offering similar to that of Nachshon, it is unfit. And what is that? It is a Nazirite's sin offering or a leper's sin offering, which are brought not to atone for a sin, but to become ritually pure. Consequently, if one sacrifices a standard sin offering for the sake of one obligated to bring the sin offering of a Nazirite or leper, it is considered a change of owner, and the offering is unfitted. The Gemara counters, why is the offering disqualified? These sin offerings of a Nazirite and a leper are equivalent to burnt offerings, since they are not brought for atonement. Sacrificing a sin offering for the sake of one obligated to bring a burnt offering is not considered deviation with regard to the owner and does not disqualify it. See 3b. Ela iet banachi izman. Amar Mishmei de Mavog. Chatat. Mavog. Mavog has a numerical value of 51. 51, 590, 38, reverse Algod. Nice. Okay. Anyways, Mavog. The Gemara answers, rather than Mavog's statement was stated, it was stated that Rav's name of Mavog is sin offering that one slaughtered for one who is obligated to bring sin offering similar to that Nachshon is fit. Nachshon's sin offering is equivalent to a burnt offering. Ika de Amar, Amar Mishmei de Mavog, Chatas Nachshon Pesula, Chatas Nachshon Olehi. There's one who says that Rav says in the name of Mavog, a sin offering that one slaughtered for the sake of a sin offering of Nachshon is unfit. This is because a sin offering of Nachshon is equivalent to a burnt offering, and he is therefore considered to have deviated from the type of offering. Belema chatas nazir chatas mesoyra ika chatas nagat. The Gemara challenges, but why did Mavog mention a sin offering of Nachshon, which one cannot bring at all? Let him say this halacha with regard to a Nazirite's sin offering and a leper's sin offering, which are also equivalent to burnt offerings. The Gemara explains, Mavok cited the primary sin offering, the first case of an individual sin offering recorded in the Bible. Amarav chatas chaylev sheshachad l'shem chatas dam l'shem chatas avodah zarah kshevo. Rav says, let's see here. Rav says, okay, not bad. A sin offering brought for consuming forbidden fat, that one slaughtered for the sake of a sin offering brought for consuming blood, or for the sake of a sin offering brought for engaging in idol worship, is fit. It is not considered a deviation from the type of offering. But if it was slaughtered for the sake of Nazareth sin offering, or for the sake of a leper's sin offering, it is unfit. These sin offerings are equivalent to burnt offerings, as they are not brought for atonement. Rava raises a dilemma. In the case of a sin offering brought for consuming forbidden fat, that one slaughtered for the sake of a sin offering brought for the defiling of the temple or its sacrificial foods, what is halakha? Do we say that the offering is fit, as the latter type of sin offering atones for transgression punished by karet, which committed intentionally, similar to the transgression of consuming forbidden fat? Oidima ein kavod. Or perhaps, is it unfit, as a sin offering brought for defiling the temple is a sliding scale sin offering, the contents of which vary with the financial situation of the transgressor. See Leviticus 5, 3-13. And not a set sin offering, which is always an animal, like a sin offering brought for consuming forbidden fat. My time, Ravacha, son of Rava, teaches a version of Rava's statement according to which in all of the cases he mentioned, including one where the sin offering was slaughtered for the sake of the sin offering brought for consuming blood or engaging in idol worship, the offering is unfit. What is the reason? It's derived from the verse, and slaughter it for a sin offering. Leviticus 4:33. That a sin offering must be slaughtered for the sake of that sin offering, and no other. Ravashi said to Ravacha, son of Rava, how do you teach Rava's dilemma? Rava appears to assume that if one slaughters a sin offering for the sake of some other types of sin offering, it remains fit. How is this comparable with your version of Rava's statement, according to which the slaughter for the sake of any other type of sin offering disqualifies it? Amar lay anamashina bailim mastisula Amar Rav chatas chaylev sheshachad almi shemichuyav chatas dam chatas avodah zarah pesula almi shemichuyav chatas nazir chatas b'tzorah k'shera. Rav Acha said to him, we teach Rava's dilemma with regard to deviation, with regard to the owner rather than from the type of offering. And this is how we teach it. First, Rava says, a sin offering brought for consuming forbidden fat that one slaughtered for the sake of one who is obligated to bring us an offering for consuming blood, or for the sake of one who is obligated to bring us an offering for engaging in idol worship, is unfit. Since the other person is also obligated to bring a sin offering, this is considered deviation with regard to the owner. But if he was slaughtered for one who is obligated to bring a Nazarite sin offering or a leper's sin offering, it is fit, as these sin offerings are not brought for atonement. Deviation with regards to the owner disqualifies an offering only if the other owner is obligated to bring a similar offering. שמחויב חטאת לטומאת מקדש וקדש מי אמרין נכנס כמוסה או דילמה אין קבוע כמותה. And then we pose the dilemma like this. Rava raises a dilemma. In the case of a sin offering brought for consuming forbidden fat, that one slaughtered for the sake of one who is obligated to bring a sin offering for the defiling of the temple or its sacrificial foods, what does the halacha do? We say that the offering is unfit, as the one who defiled the temple or its sacrificial foods is obligated to bring a sin offering for a transgression punishable by karet, similar to the transgression by the owner, or perhaps it remains fit. As a sin offering brought for the temple, brought for defiling the temple is not a set sin offering, like a sin offering brought for the consuming of forbidden fat. Take Gemara concludes the dilemma shall stand resolved. This might be the 214th Teku. Around there. Itmar, we learned. Itmar stated, Shavat Hashmal Zogdama Shilo Shma. It was stated, if one slaughtered a sin offering for its sake, with intent to sprinkle its blood, not for its sake, but for the sake of another type of offering, Rabbi Yochanan says that the offering is unfit, and Reish Lakish says it is fit. Rabbi Yochanan or Psula Mach Shavin Me'avodizot B'Yafin Lamimachshe Bes Pigul. Rabbi Yochanan says it is unfit, as in his opinion one can have intention from one right to affect another right. Meaning, one can disqualify an offering by performing one right with improper intent about a subsequent right that he has not yet performed. And we derive this halacha from intent of pigul, meaning intent while performing one of the main rites to consume the offering after the appointed time which disqualifies the offering. Reish Lakish amar k'sheila ein mechashvin me'avodizare ve'lo yalfinan mimachsheves pigul. And Reish Lakish says that it is fit, as, in his opinion, one cannot have intention from one right to affect another right, and we do not derive halakha with regard to deviation from the type of offering from intent of pigul. V'azdu itamayu d'itmar, and Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish each follow their general line of reasoning in this matter, as it was stated.